Yo, what's up everyone that uses Instagram too? How's it going? There's some light over my head. I don't like that. So today I'm wearing my Eminem t-shirt. It's kind of cringy. And yeah, my mattress is lifted up again. And I've just started this video out of nowhere because I have found a book yesterday. And I usually don't finish the books that I start reading. I read like one page in the maximum. So I want to try to read this book, and I don't know if I'm going to finish. I'll try my best to finish, and I'm going to post this video. So yeah, that's it. Let's get start to it. Oh, you cannot see the book, I guess. Wait, I need to make my screen smaller like this, and then I'm going to put the book here, and then I can make this bigger. Perfect. So now, is it covering? Yes, it is. Ah, perfect. Um, so yeah, a little bit more. After I can adjust better. All right. So the name of the book is Calm the Fuck Down: How to Control What You Can and Accept What You Can't so you can stop freaking out and get on with your life. The author of the book is Sarah Knight, and it was a and she was a best-selling author of New York Times. No, what am I saying? She's a New York Times bestseller, author of The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck. Get your shit together and you do you. So copyright. Content. Let's take a look in the name of some of the chapters of the book. So introduction, it's called Shit Happens, What We Worry, Feet, the No Worries Method, I Can Do With the Shit, or Can I? Then chapter 1. So you're freaking out. Acknowledge the real problem and rein your reaction. What seems to be the problem? Everything is a tarantula, the evolution of a freak out. The four phases of freaking out: anxiety, sadness, anger, and avoidance. Mexican airport syndrome. What is that supposed to mean? Survey says y'all are a bunch of freaks. Welcome to the flip side. Freak out face, the flip side. Freak out funds, time, energy, and money. Three ways in which overthinking wastes time, energy, and money. The four found, goodwill, hot take, coming right up, mental decluttering, and the one question true than now. This is our brain puppies. Quick reminder. Calm the fuck down, identify what you can control, accept what you can, and let the shit go. Pick a category, any category, feed the Fahrenheit shitstorm scale, then get a downgrade, large cats and hoe. I'm already bored. See? Recognition the level of how I can't just sit and read a book. But I don't want to finish that. So let's just start to it. A note on the title. Uh, uh. This is a book about anxiety, from the white noise of what ifs to the white hot terror of a full blown crisis. As such, you'd be forgiven for thinking I'm the world's biggest asshole for titling it as I have, since everyone knows that the first entry on a long list of unhelpful things to say to a person experiencing anxiety is calm the fuck down. Indeed, when I'm upset and somebody tells me to calm down, I want to murder them in swift and decisive fashion, so I see where it be coming from. But this is also a book about problems. We've all got 'em. And calming down is exactly what you need to do if you want to solve these problems. It is what it is. So if it keeps you from wanting to murder the messenger, know that in this page I'm saying calm the fuck down. There's someone said get your shit together in the New York Times bestseller of the same name. Not to shame or criticize you, but to offer motivation and encouragement. I promise that's all I'm going for, and that I'm not the world's biggest asshole. That honor belongs to whoever invented the Vuvuzela. Yeah, that's totally true. Vuvuzela sucks. I hate it. We cool? Excellent. One more thing before we dive into all of that anxiety reducing, problem solving goodness. I understand the difference between anxiety, the mental illness, and anxiety, the temporary state of mind. I understand it because I myself happen to possess a diagnosis of generalized anxiety and panic disorder. Right what you know, folks. So, although a profanity-riddled self-help book is no substitute for professional medical care, if we pick up Calm the Fuck Down because you're permanently clinically anxious like me, in it you will find plenty of tips, tricks, and techniques to help you manage that shit, which will allow you to move on to the business of solving the problems that are feeding your anxiety in the first place. But maybe you don't have, or don't realize you have, or aren't ready to admit you have anxiety. The mental illness, maybe you just get temporarily anxious when the situation demands it. See, the white hot terror of a full blown crisis. Never fear. Calm the fuck down will provide you with ample calamity management tools for stressful times. Plus, let me see if you can. Uh, should I make it smaller? Let me see. No. Maybe it's too small for you to read, right? Sorry, I forgot. Okay, sounds better. Plus, maybe some tips, tricks, and techniques for dealing with the thing you don't realize or aren't ready to admit you have. Just saying. Okay, so introduction. I like to kick things off with a few questions. How many times a day do you ask yourself, what if? As in, what if X happens? What if Y goes wrong? What if Z doesn't turn out like I want it expected to? How much time do you spend worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, or about something that not only hasn't happened but probably won't? Okay, let me answer these questions. So the first one, what if da happens? I actually don't do that a lot simply because I'm frequently entertained by something, which is becoming one of my main problems right now. Like right now, I'm entertained by this book. I'm being entertained by myself by recording this video. So I don't often answer those questions to myself. I don't often reflect about stuff. And I went to the psychologist, I have the face of my problems and my questions in my mind, but I don't solve them because they all come together when I start thinking about a major problem and I start like solving it, then another major problem during this solving of that one appears, which makes me forget about all of it. So, second question. How much time do you spend worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, or about something that not only hasn't happened but probably won't? That thing I may take more time because I'm moving to Italy and I feel worried when I think about that I'm going to live all by myself for a few months without my girlfriend there or my whole life here. And how many hours have you wasted freaking out about something that has already happened or avoiding it as a quiet panic infesting your soul? I do that. I have quiet panic infest in my soul, in my mind, in my brain. But yeah, I have wasted a lot of time thinking about shit that has already happened, and instead of just dealing with it. That's the thing. I can't deal with it because I don't have an answer. I can't. And as time goes by, it gets harder because I start getting in this misty, confucius part of my memory that I can remember exactly how things happen, so I can deal with it. So it's okay to be honest. I'm not trying to shame you. In fact, I'll go first. My answer is too many, too much, and a lot. Hmm. No, first one for me wasn't too many. I assume yours too, because if the answer is never, none, and zero, then you would have no reason to be reading this book. Okay? But you got. It's quite different for me. It's quite different. Nor, I might add, the harder one qualification to have written. Well, I don't blame you, Sarah Knight. That's the name of the author, because I'm not thinking about this stuff because I'm being entertained, which just makes it worse. Well, I come bearing good news. Bearing good news. Well, we're finished. The next time you come down with a case of what ifs and whether they remain theoretical anxieties are turning into real, life problems that need solving instead of worrying yourself into panic attack, crying day away, punching a wall, or avoiding things until they get even worse. That's me, avoiding things. You have learned to replace the open-ended nature of that unproductive question with one that's much more logical, realistic, and actionable. Okay, now what? Then you deal with it, whatever it is. But let's not get ahead of ourselves for now. We started with the basics. Shit happens. Boy, does it. And when I think about all the shit that could or probably will happen to me or any given day, I'm reminded of a lyric from the Ported Music Genius and Speecher Gangsta, the one, the only Prince. I know only Purple Rain. Rest in peace. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Wise words, dear Prince. The Purple One had suspected opinions about a lot of things, among them religion, tasteful fabrics, and age-appropriate relationships. But in this regard, he has spot on each morning that we wake up and lurch across this rotating time bomb called Earth. Our baseline goal is to get through the day. Some of us are angling for more, like success, a bit of relaxation, or a kind word from a loved one. Others are just hoping not to get arrested for treason, while every day some of us are hoping someone else gets arrested for treason. I hope so. The crimes that I commit and they are illegal in my country. And though each 24-hour cycle brings the potential for good things to happen, your loan gets approved, your girlfriend proposes, your socks match, there's also the chance that a big steaming pile of shit will land in your lap. Your house could get repossessed. Your girlfriend might break up with you, please no. Your socks may become woolly receptacles for cat vomit. Not to mention the potential for earthquakes, tornadoes, military coups, nuclear accidents. Well, where I live, those stuffs hardly ever would happen. But if it happens somewhere, I'd totally be sad about it, of course. The worldwide output fall into record laws, and all manner are disasters that could strike at any time and really fuck up your shit, especially the wine thing. That's just how life works. Prince knew it, you know it, and that is literally all you and Prince have in common. Hmm, that shit happens. So, here's another question for you. When shit happens, how do you react? Do you freeze or do you freak out? So about shit's happening, I think that in the outside it's totally fine. Like if it's something that you can control, shit happens, shit should happens. The problem is if the shit happens inside of ourselves, you know, which is happening to me. Do you freeze? Okay, coming back to the book, I need to tell someone when I mean that we are getting out of the book and coming back to the book. So I'll start saying that's my personal thought. So I don't know. Do you freeze? Okay, so coming back to the book, do you freeze or do you freak out? Do you lock the bathroom drawer and cry or do you howl at the sky with rage? Personally, I've been known to pretend shit is not happening, bury my head in a pillow, and stick my ass in the air in a movie called Ostriching. I imagine how that move looks, Sarah. That's my thought. Coming back to the book, unfortunately, while this coping mechanism can be comforting, none are especially productive. And I say that having invented one of them, eventually you have to stop freaking out and start dealing with your shit. And shocker, it's hard to make decisions and solve problems when you're panicking or sobbing or shouting or when all the blood is rushing to your head. Which is why what you really need to do, first and foremost, is calm the fucking down. Yes, we've all been there. I simply maintain that most of us could learn how to handle it better. Related, most of us also have a friend, relative, or partner whose inevitable reaction to our every crisis is, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." Or worse, "Oh, it's not so bad." On that, I call it bullshit. Well, many platitudes are easy to offer for someone with no skin in the game. In this book, we'll be dealing in reality, not nicety. I want to make some notes about the book. I'm gonna write it on a normal this that I forgot the name. Know what I mean? Ah, ah, shit! I hate this. Okay. Hmm? Huh. Okay. Perfect. So first thing I want to remember is um, Prince knows that shit happens, so do I. Second thing, it's okay that external shit happens. The problem is when shit happens inside of ourselves. When the shit is our routine. That's what I think, bitch. Alright, so where have I stopped? I'm gonna start from the beginning. Coming back to the book, we've all been there. I simply maintain that most of us could learn how to handle it better. Related, most of us also have a friend, relative. Okay. The truth is, yes, some things will be okay. You pass the test, the tumor comes back benign. Linda returns your text. Huh? Linda? Who's Linda? But sometimes they won't. Investments go south. Friendships fall away. And in an election of monumental consequence, millions of people cast their vote for an ingrown toenail in a cheap red hat. Who are they talking about here? In some cases, it's really not so bad, and you are overreacting. You've built an Imagine crisis up in your head and let it feed your anxiety like a mogwai after dark. What is a mogwai? If you've seen Gremlins, you know how this ends. Hmm? Okay. But in other cases, it's real bad, bro. And you are underacting. You're like the cartoon dog who sits at a table drinking coffee when the house bursts down around, thinking it's fine. This is fine. It's not fine. And sure, by saying everything's going to be okay, your friend, relative, partner is probably just trying to help you. Yeah, she is. But what are they are? My friends, my relatives, my family. But whether you're making a Taj Mahal out of a teepee or ignoring a problem for so long that it sets your metaphorical house on fire, I'm actually going to help you. That's just how I roll. Thus begins your education's calming the fuck down. If I finish this book, I'm already going to be way better. Lesson one: merely believing that things will be okay, aren't so bad, may make you feel better in the moment. But it won't solve the problem, and a lot of times it doesn't even feel good in the moment. That's for me. It feels like you're being condensed to be by happy industrial complex. Don't get me started. Either way, it doesn't change a goddamn thing. I don't like when my hair is up. Okay, I can live with that. Lesson 2. When shit happens, circumstances are what they are. Tires are flat, wrists are broken. I got a wrist broken. Coming back to the book. Files are deleted. Oh, gosh. Hamsters are dead. Happened to me as well. You may be frustrated, anxious, hurt, angry, or sad, but you're right there in the thick of it, and the only thing you can control in the equation is you and your reaction. Lesson 3. To survive and thrive in these moments, you need to acknowledge what's happening, accept the parts you can control, and address the parts you can. That's important. Can I copy? Ah, I can. Perfect. For that last one, have you heard of the Serenity Prayer? What is that? I don't know, book. Coming back to the book? You know, the one about accepting things you cannot change and having a wisdom to know the difference? Calm the Funk Dao is essentially a blasphemous. Ah, long form version of that with flowcharts and stuff. If we're into that sort of thing, we're going to get along just fine. Serenity Prayer. I didn't know about that. What is Serenity Prayer, Sarah Knight? What do you mean by Serenity Prayer? I'm curious. What? Me? Worry? I'm guessing that if you came to this book for guidance, then worrying about shit, either before or after it happens, is a problem for you. So here's the main lesson. Worrying has two separate but related meanings. In addition to the act of anxiously fretting about one's problems, worrying also means constantly fiddling with something, rubbing at it, tearing it open, and make it worse. Hmm. I didn't know that. It's like noticing that your sweater has a dangling thread, maybe the beginnings of a hole, and it's natural to want to pull on it. You're getting a feel for the problem, measuring its potential impact. How bad is it already? What can I do about it? But if you keep pulling, and then tugging, yanking, and peeling instead of taking action to fix it, suddenly you are down a whole sleeve. You're freaking out. And both your state of mind and your sweater are in tatters. I've seen smaller piles of yarn at a cat cafe. When you get into this state of mind, you're not just worried about something, you're actually worrying it. And in both sense, worry makes the problem worse. Hmm. Hmm. So, worrying has two meanings: to be anxious and to make something worse. I like that. This series of unfortunate events applies across the board, from worries that bring on low-level anxiety to those that precede full-bore freakouts. Some of that anxiety and freak out is Warrant. Warranted. Like, what if my car runs out of gas in the middle of the dark desert highway? But some of it isn't. Like, what if Linda's mad at me? I know she saw that the text I sent yesterday and she hasn't replied. Why haven't you replied, Linda? Luckily, I'm going to show you how to get a handle on all of your worries, how to accept the ones you can control, and how to act in a productive way on the ones you can. Oh, electricity in my house just went off. Um, I call it the no worries method. It's based on the same concept that anchors all of my work, mental decluttering, and it has two steps: calm the funk down to live it. Sounds promising, no? Or does it sound overly reductive and like it couldn't possibly help you in any way? I hear that, but overly reductive yet extremely helpful is kind of my thing. So maybe give it another page or two before you decide. For now, let's circle back to those questions you're at, admit that you can't stop asking yourself. What if X happens? What if Y goes wrong? What if Z doesn't turn out like I want it expected to? The X you're worried about could be anything from getting your period on a first date to the ultimately death of a loved one. Y could be the dissertation defense of landing gear on your connecting flight to Milwaukee. Z might be a job interview, a driving test, or the rather large wager you place on the listed Royal Babe name. It's a 4,000 pound shame they didn't go with Gary. I know. What is the name of the Royal Babe name? In the end, it doesn't matter precisely what your what ifs are. What ifs are. Only that they exist and they are occupying some a lot too much of your mental space on any given day, unraveling your metaphorical sweater bit by bit. You would therefore do well to note the following. Lesson 4. A bunch of this shit is unlikely to happen at all. Hmm. You can prevent some of it and mitigate the effects of the rest. Some of it is and has always been completely out of your hands and locked in the steely grip of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II. You need to take your licks, learn the lesson, and let this one come. And hey, no judgments, I'm right there with you. Hence, the hard-won qualifications to have this written book. For most of my life, I've been a champion warrior. What ifs stir inside my skull like minnows on a math bender, and a fret about shit that hasn't happened. I obsess over shit that may or may not happen, and when shit does happen, I possess an outstanding capacity for freaking out about it. But over the last few years, I found ways to keep that stuff to a minimum. I'm not completely worry free, but I have become less anxious and I'm no longer, shall we say, paralyzed by dread or driven to the brink of madness by unmet expectations and a boiling sense of injustice. It's an improvement. I'm amazed at how good it feels and how much I've been able to accomplish with relatively simple change in my mindset. Accepting the shit I can't control, which allows me to focus on dealing with the shit I can control, leaving me better equipped to make decisions and solve problems, both in the moment and after the effect, and even to prevent some of them from happening in the first place. Nifty. What is nifty? I've learned how to stop dwelling or unlikely outcomes. Gosh, it's really hard to read a book. You can do it. In favor of acting to create more likely ones. How to plow forward rather than agonize backward, and crucially, how to separate my anxiety about what might occur from the act of handling it when it does occur. You can learn to do all of that too. Calm the fuck down will help you. Stop freaking out about shit you can't control and enable yourself to make rational decisions so you can solve problems instead of making them worse. Here's what that process looked like for me during the last few years and a little taste of how it'll work for you. It can work for you. I can deal with this shit, or can I? The beginnings of my change in mindset happened to coincide with a change of location. When my husband and I moved from bustling Brooklyn, New York, to a tranquil fishing village on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. I know, shut the fuck up, right? Where have they gone? Brooklyn. Okay. I know, but shut the fuck up, right? But I swear, this isn't a story about idyllic, sun-drenched days full of coco locos and aquamarine vistas. I do enjoy those, but the primary benefit of living where I do is that it has forced me like aquamarine waterboarded me to calm down. During the previous 16 years in New York, I'd had a lot going on. I climbed the corporate ladder, planned an executive planned and executed a wedding, bought real estate. What does that mean, real estate? And orchestrated the aforementioned move to the Dominican Republic. I was always good at getting shit done. Yes, but I was not especially quiet, calm while doing it. And when I need to be more calm. And when anything happens to alter the course of my carefully cultivated expectations, well, futile tea. Forgettable tea. I think that's French. Forgettable tea. Highly organized person. No. You might think that a high functioning, high achieving, highly organized person would be able to adjust if the situation demanded, but back then I couldn't deviate from the plan without experiencing a major freakout, such as when a downpour on the day of my husband's 30th birthday picnic sent me into a fit of goodbye, cruel world. What? In those days, I had a tendency to melt down faster than a half pound of raclette at a boogie Brooklyn dinner party. I read the next part in my mind, but I want to say all the words of the book out loud. So, making all of the shit I had to do far more difficult and anxiety inducing than it needed to be. Two steps forward, one step back, and all the damn time. Something had to give, but I didn't know what or how to give it. Which brings us to that tranquil fishing village on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. 3 years ago, I moved to a place where I might as well abandon planning altogether. Well, here, the tropical weather shifts faster than the real housewives' loyalties. Stores close for unspecified periods of time of random days of the week, and the guy who is due to fix the roof mañana is just like to have a week from mañana. Possibly because of the thunderstorms or because he couldn't buy the materials needed from the hardware store that is only periodically and consistently open. Or both, or neither, who knows? Caribbean life may look seductively, slow-paced, and groovy. When you've got a sick for your demanding job to lie on the couch binging on chicken soup and HGTV, and in lots of ways it is. I'm not complaining, but it can also be frustrating for those of us who arrive on reliability and structure, or who don't deal particularly well with the unexpected. After a few weeks of hanging out in Hispaniola, I began to realize that if I clung to my old ways in our new life, I would wind up in a perpetual panic about something, because nothing goes according to plan around here, and that would negate the entire purpose of having got the hell of New York in the first place. So for me, landing in the DR was a shot of exposure therapy with a coconut rum chaser. I've been forced to relax and go with the flow, which has done wonders for my attitude and my Xanax supply. Does she use Xanax? Again? Not complaining. But through observation and practice, I've also determined that one doesn't need to uproot to an island in the middle of the Atlantic to calm the fuck down. Like you have done, Sarah? Anyone can do it, including you. I can't. You just need to shift your mindset, like I did, to act your problems in a different way. In doing so, you also learn that you actually can prepare for the unexpected, which helps a lot with the whole step back thing. How is that possible? Wouldn't preparing for every potential outcome drive you crazy in a totally different way? Well, yes, it would. But I'm not talking about securing multiple locations for your husband's 30th birthday party because what if it rains, or preparing three different versions of presents because what if the client seems to be in less of a pie chart and more of a bar graph mood than the day? Love that word. He's a pie chart and more of a bar graph mood. Or erecting a complicated system for moats around your property because what if your neighbor's fish cows get loose someday? That could definitely create a possibility to go to bankruptcy. I'm talking about preparing mentality. That's what these books help you do. So that when shit happens, you have to have the tools to handle it. Whoever you are, wherever you live, and whenever things got hairy. Ah, that was a yid. Pss. Oh no, pss. That's what we in the biz call foreshadowing. In the biz, you be like famous. A few months ago, after a pleasant night out at a local tiki bar, my husband and I arrived home to an unexpected visitor. I had opened our gate and was slowly picking my way across the flagstone path to our deck. It was dark, I was tipsy, when a larger than unusual leaf caught my eye. It seemed not to be so much fluttering on the breeze as scuttling on it. A quick beam of my iPhone flashlight confirmed that the presumptive almond leaf was in fact a tarantula the size of a honeydew melon. Oh god, I would totally shoot my face just to kill a tarantula. Coming back to the book. Yep, I'll give you a moment to recover. Lord knows I needed one. Now, assuming you haven't thrown the book across the room in disgust, or I'm still disgusted, or that you have at least picked it back, may I continue? Having previously declared my intention to burn the motherfucker down, if whoever spotted such a creature in our house, I was faced with a quandary. By this time, I had grown fond of my house, and technically the creature was not in it, just near it. What to do? Stand frozen in place until the thing wandered back to the unknowable depths from whence it came. Sleep with one eye open for eternity. Politely asked the taranted to skedaddle. Ran away, I learned the word. None of those were realistic options, as it turned out. Apart from shouting at my husband to please come deal with Tarantula, there wasn't much I couldn't do. We live in the jungle, baby, and no matter how many real estate agents and fellow experts had told us those guys stay up in the mountains, you never see one, there was no denying the seven-legged fact that one had found its way to our humble sea-level abode. You read it correctly. This agent was missing one of his four little limbs, a fact that will become important later in the story. Uh. What we did was this. My husband grabbed a broom and used to guide the uninvited guest of our property into the neighbor's bushes, and I fled into the house muttering, everything's a tarantula, under my breath until I was safely upstairs and sufficiently dragged to sleep. It wasn't totally calming the fucking down, but it was a step in the right direction. The next morning, we got up early to go on an all-day rum-guzzling boat trip with some friends. I know, shut the fuck up. I stayed right downstairs in a pre-8 a.m. haze, and as I turned at the landing toward the bottom of the stairs, I saw it. Hiding behind the floor-length curtain in the living room was the very same tarantula that had previously been shot a good 100 feet away from it position. I knew it. I think I'm going to cover the time with my watch because I don't want to realize how much time is passing. Okay, I want to make this bigger. Perfect. I can see time now. I'm going to put my cell phone on the drawer because I have already thought up several times. Oh, I've hurt my feet. Shit. Gosh, I hate my feet. Okay, coming back. 9% of the book. And alright, time. The next morning, we got up early to go. Hi, how you feeling? Was the same one because it had only 7 legs. And lest you think I got close enough to count them, I'll remind you that this spider was so fucking big you did not have to get closer to it to count its legs, with which it had overnight crossed an expanse of grass, climbed back up onto the deck, and then climbed again up to the terrace and squeezed in between the cracks of our sliding door to get inside. What? No, what you're thinking, this is when you burn wanna fuck down, right? And yes, my stiff reaction was I can't deal with this shit. But you know what? Upon second viewing, the Tarantula was not so bad, or rather, it was still bad, but it was better. If we'd found the spider like that, I would have lit a match right then and there. But now it seemed I'd be trained by all of those unpredictable monsoon rains and reliable roof guys. Expect the unexpected, nothing goes according to plan. Surprise! From our practice run the night before, I knew it wasn't going to move very fast or like started growling at me, and I had to admit that a honeydew sized spider operating one leg short was a lot smaller and less nimble than a 5 foot tall person with both her legs intact. It turns out that exposure therapy is clinically sanctioned for a reason. By activating the logical part of my brain, I was able to one up that instinctive, I can deal with this shit with a more productive way. Well, what are we going to do about this because I have a boat to catch and vast quarantines of room to imbibe. This was no time for hysterics. Freaking out was not going to solve the problem. Recall, if you would, my jacked up version of the Serenity player. Uh, Acknowledge. What has happened? I have in my house. Except, what? You can control Tarantula gets into my house? Yeah, you kinda can. Just close the doors. Address. What? You can control get Tarantula out of my house. That's harder. I had officially calmed the fuck down. Now it's time to deal with it. Fine, it was time for my husband to deal with it. I helped. Using an empty plastic pitcher, a broom, a piece of cardboard, and nerves to steel, why don't you just smash the spider against the wall with the broom? That's what I would do, sorry. And nerves of steel. He trapped the thing humanly and secured it on the dining table while I rounded up sunscreen, towels, portable speakers, and an extra pint of Barcelona because last time the boat captain underestimated and really who wants to hang out on desert beach of coconuts to the field supply of room. I don't drink so, but you can control the room. Then we drove a mile down the road with our new pal Lucky and consent in his plastic jug, released the wayward spider into a vacant lot, and boarded the SS Mama needs her juice. So what do my newfound Caribbean calm and I'm crying. Right here. You can see. But I'm crying. So what do my newfound Caribbean common tales of Tarantulian daring do have to do with acknowledging, accepting, and addressing your overactive what-ifs, worries, anxieties, and freakouts? A fair question. In addition to spending many years as a professional warrior, I'm currently a professional writer of self-help books including The Life-Changing Message of Not Giving a Fuck, Get Your Shit Together, and You Do You. You have already told that, Sarah. Stop showing off. Each has recounted aspects of my personal track toward becoming a happier and mentally healthier person, combined with practical profanity riddle tips are accomplishing same. They call me the Anti-Guru, not gonna lie, it's pretty sweet gig. Collectively, the No Fucks Giving Guys, NFGGs, for short, have helped millions of people cast off burdensome obligations, organize their lives, and be their authentic selves. If you are one of those people, I want to thank you for enabling this super sweet gig. If you are new to the bar, welcome! Thank you. And sorry about the spider stuff, I know that it was off-putting, but the NFGGs are like that sometimes. You get used to it. Anyway, I'm glad you are here in between us. I believe you're holding in your hands the most useful notebook saving it. I'm not holding it. It's on my laptop. Since as I think we've agreed, everyone has problems. See, that's what I'm fighting against. Me being sleepy while trying to sleep to read. That's right. You cannot get through life without shit happening to you. But also herewith a manual for learning how to cope. I didn't know there was a word together herewith. In Calm to Fuck Down and Learn About, I thought the book had arrived started. The four phases of freaking out and their flip sides, managing your freak out fund, mental decluttering, the one question to rule them all, how to sort your problems by probability and prioritize them by urgency, slate of mind, ostrich mode and how to avoid it, productive, helpful, effective, worrying. Phew. Productive, helpful, effective, worrying. The three principles of dealing with it. Realistic ideal outcomes, reals, and much, much more. So, if you are like me, if ever thought I can't deal with this shit, or if you are asking what if more than you ought to be, worrying too much, freaking out too often, and waste time and energy obsessing over things you can control, I can help. Remember, I'm not here to invalidate or minimize your anxiety of your problems. I just want to assist you in dealing with them and calming the fuck down in the first step. Along the way, I swear, I'll never tell you everything's going to be okay or push a narrative that is not so bad. Whatever's going on in your life sucks as hard as you think it does. No arguments here. But I'll say this, I'm 100% positive that if I can spend 10 minutes in a car with a Toronto on my lap, you can calm the fuck down and deal with your shit too. So you're freaking out. Acknowledge the real problem and rein in your reaction. Okay. In part, I will establish some parameters, beginning with what your problems are, exactly what variations of havoc they're wreaking on your life. Could you be any more excited? Then we study the evolution of a freak out, how it happens, what it looks like, and what it costs you. I introduce the four phases of freaking out and their flip sides, and show you how to transition from one to the other. This section includes a primer on a little something known in our household as Mexican airport syndrome. What is that? Pay attention, amigos. Next, we'll talk about Next, we'll talk freakout funds. These are the resources you have at your disposal to forestall or combat a freakout. Time, energy, and money. They make the world go round, especially when shit's going down. Plus, there's the fourth fund, which you may have unknowingly been overdrawing for far too long. We'll discuss. I'll wrap up part by explaining the concept of mental decluttering, both in general as it pertains to calming the fuck down. I can't read calling fucked down anymore. Introduce you to the one question to root and all, and finally walk you through a technique I call emotional pub creating. Hello, man. It was time to read this motherfucker book. All of this may sound a little wacky, especially the emotional puppy creating, but give it a chance. The way I see it, there are thousands of self-improvement methods on the market that peddle far more suspect solutions to life's problems. At least I know this book works because it works on me, and in addition to being very logical and rational. A bona fide basket case. Anti-gurus, they're just like us. Now let's record together. Woo! What seems to be the problem? Forgive me for saying so, but you seem a little anxious. Perhaps it's about something small, like wrapping up the last thing on your to-do list, or the niggling concern that you should be calling your parents more often. Maybe you're worried about something bigger or more complicated, like you want to apply to grade school, but you're not sure if you can fit around in your day and job budget. The source of your anxiety might be hard to pinpoint, or it could be pretty fucking obvious, like you just totaled your bike. I discovered your house was built on top of an active gopher colony. Or, and this is just how I get. Yeah, kinda. I thought so. I kinda thought so. We got ready to drop a job because I have news for you. It's all connected. That low. Where am I? That low hum of background anxiety. Your worries about shit. I don't think if I want to know the percentage of the book because it goes so low. No. Perfect. Anxiety. Your worries about shit that hasn't happened yet and shit that already has. This little stuff in the big. All of it is related, and all of it can be attacked with the realism, pragmatism, and logical thinking that I'll be preaching throughout Calm the Fuck Down. But before you can attack and excite about it, you must identify and isolate the specific underlying problem, one at a time, please. Sometimes that's easier said than done. If we were talking about a smash stream or a gopher colony, then I trust you know what's what. But there may also be days when you felt blah and bleach for no reason. And those feelings finish pouring into the bed place. I can't fall asleep at night. That's me. I woke up in panic. Not me. I can relax. Me. That's distracted me. No reason, huh? You're correct. There is a reason for your anxiety. How you learn. And if you can name it, you'll be in a much better position calling folk down bond dealerships, for example. I can't fall asleep at night because what if I get bad news from the doctor tomorrow? No, I can't sleep at night because I'm waking up late and I'm not too tired. Only because I've been pressed goes bad today. No. I can relax because if I don't say that test. Perfect. I'm so distracted because what if I forget to do everything supposed to do? Everything's at random. I'm familiar with waking up in a panic. I'm also familiar with limbo. Oh wait. Why am I so sleepy? I went to bed at 2 a.m. Woke up at 8. I slept 6 hours straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Everything is a tarantula. I'm familiar with waking up in panic. I'm also familiar with feeling blah and bleach for no reason. It can come open me in the morning, late at night, or even at stroke of 4 p.m. My church side spiritual clock, I liken it to being stalked by a hidden tarantula. I know there's something out there, but if it refuses to show its fuzzy little face, how can I be expected to deal with it? When I find myself actually muttering everything is a tarantula out loud as I have taken to doing so, oh, about 6 months ago I left to stop thinking as myself. Now, what is it really? Because everything's not a hidden tarantula. Everything is right there in the open, pandemic in front of me now. My book is due. I felt to me. Everything. Ready for the bill. Only when you can take the time to identify what's truly bothering you, can start to address it. Anything is better than answering the original necessary. And first, you need to figure out why you feel this way, so you can figure out what to do about it. That's a good question. I need to remember this. Why am I addicted to X? I think I might know the answer. Oh, well, gosh. So hard to finish in one book. Did I finish this? The problem, you do the part, and I help with the rest. I think it's a more than fair trade for a few minutes of introspection and part, don't you? If you woke up in a panic this morning and feeling bad, wish it's romantic news right now, you don't have to calm down, but or do it, then just say you're not currently experiencing everything, so turn to anxiety, get this part by keeping mindful of my transitions. The problems. Translates are a problem. First one of them, I need a digital detox. Second one of them, no sleep. Third one of them, procrastinating everything. Too much worried about Italian citizenship. My tarantulas. Next up, I'll show you what happens when you worry and what if sleep you're not merely distracted or unable to sleep but barreling toward a full-fledged freakout. What am I taking you deep in the bad place because understanding how freaking out works to help you to understand how to avoid it. I look to the timer but I can't see the timer. There's a camera on my watch. My wristwatch. The illusion of Africa. Imagine you're hosting your daughter's high school graduation party this weekend. She's, oh gosh, I'm going to lay down on the floor for a while. I don't know, I think I slept. But you know, I was dreaming that the guy was using the fact that I was. I don't know, I think I slept. But you know, the whole dreaming. No, in the end of the dream, I saw that I thought that there was an enemy and he used my dream against me, so I had to wake up. Consciously, I did that. But I think I actually slept. Gosh, I feel way better. The important is to finish the book. Imagine you are hosting your why am I taking you deep into the bad place? Because understanding how think out works will help you understand how to avoid it. Imagine you are hosting your daughter's high school graduation party this weekend. She's head off to the University of Texas. You're very proud, and although you tailor your SSRSV, what's that? Try and calculate your provisions accordingly. What if more people show up than expected? You start to worry that you don't have enough food and drink to serve all of your guests. Plus, the venerable plus ones plus a half dozen teenage boys will undoubtedly show up and also decimate the hot dog supplies, leaving you with a subpar grilled meat to potato celebration for too early in the day. This is normal. Show me someone who's planning a big event that hasn't been plagued by what if and no worries. I show up a superhuman who knows pumping and hungry. Is what you do or don't do the next counts. You could run out and grab an extra pack of dogs and just throw them in the freezer if they don't get eaten. By action, taking not that loose thread. You can prevent this worry from destroying your metaphorical sweater, or instead of acknowledge the problem, potential meaning shortage, accept what you can control. Uninvited guests. Of course you can fucking control uninvited guests. You get extra food. Sarah, not good in the one. And undress you what you can. Dog quantities. Ah, just keep worrying. Let's see if you do it. Why just citronella torches don't keep the mosquitoes away as advertised? Why if it finished? Why if they use those process? I wouldn't get here in time. Your sweater is unreally neat, one by four, too. And those are just the logical waves. You can help yourself. You keep willing and tugging and adding more to the mix. What if people take one look at my art decorations and think I'm trying too hard, or not hard enough? What if the neighbors are annoyed by all the cars parked along the street? What if you did all this work and everybody considers it less time? Now your sweater is more of a midriff top. You can stop to breathe, let alone take action. You're no longer merely worried, you're officially freaking out. Evolution freak out. What if? Worry, inaction, freak out. I don't think I freak out, like, it's because I'm very calm. I think I freak out calmly. Maybe I kinda lost the will. This is how it happens, and with the proper training, you should be able to prevent it. In part 2, for example, we will practice identifying what you can control. Invest in a few cans of industrial strength bug spray. Fuck, I slept on the ground. That shouldn't happen. And accepting what you can. Next door neighbor's Debbie's disdain for orange and white floral arranged. Everyone invited and gets chicken pox. So you can prepare for some outcomes and let go of fears about others. Go long horse. What does that mean? But from a moment and for the sake of a good old cautionary tale, let's stick to the diagnostics. Because whether it's building up or already boiling over, it helps to know what type of recall you're experiencing. They all look different and there are different ways to diffuse each of them. The four phases of faking out. In my previous books, I've been known to offer a niche taxonomy of different types of readers who could benefit from taking my advice. I do this because I find that encountering a wide personality profile helps one something, which is comforting when one's about to be smacked upside the head with some decidedly uncomfortable truths, which makes it unfortunate for you and me both that freaking out how everybody does it and why it's all over the gauntlet, man. Some of us don't blink an eye when our septic tanks back up or hyperventilate if Starbucks run out of almond croissants. Others pull a cool hand luck when the car gets towed or the rest results come back positive. Breach or personal DEFCON. I when the cable goes out during America's Next Top Model for the mark. Freaking out manifesting different strokes for different folks. For some it's the open mouthed panic sweating countenance of Kathy cartoon from the 80s act. But for others freaking out is more about tears than tremors, or black moods, or black stares. And to top it out of any of us might experience a different form of freak out on a different day for different reasons. For example, you may not be a big dumb career like your friend Ted who spends all the plus feel emotional emoji. If the way to feel your wedding ring up or granny. I don't relate to this book. First, it was written by a woman. Second, she's way older than me. Third, she's married. I can relate to the book. You're liable to get a little weepy, and I don't typically waste my breath screaming and shouting, but one time in 2001, I opened a beer jar on my foot and it was just perfect silent and I was I don't know if you're good man. You as an individual figure outer into one type category. I've winnowed the types of recalls themselves into four big. Next is anyone or given sign. Inside is an environment like ostrich mode. These are the four phases of freaking out. The masks we wear when we worry excessively, and oh mama, it's getting hard to breathe up in this piece. Your double slow how to credit the second fight back. Area enemy and all that, what it looks like. Anxiety comes in many forms and for the anything. Regard to label, for example, you may think you've got a touch of food poisoning when you obsess on the anxiety. Or monitoring even poison may just have another person to understand. They got other indicators include good knowledge, nervousness, headaches, hot flashes, shortness of breath, white hat pattern, soreness, and nerves. They're checking the mood, the secret, actually, and others. If a capital way inside the experience like it inside, enough commercial almost always been free. The vocals, recreational boats, and so on without help. Why it's bad. Apart from the symptoms I listed above, one of the most likely and these two side effects of things and other like that burning blood, also like that gives different and swimming in and out of the line of vision. And every time I think you're drawn bad on it, it changes direction up in the corner. Uh huh. Too slow. Now it's hovering 3 feet above your head. My brain like the physical manifestation of your brain. What is put? Yeah. Oh, well, except your mind. Okay. I can't anymore. I want to see the avoidance. I have the ostrich mode. I'm sorry. I can't anymore. I don't relate to Sarah. She's way too older than me. She's married. She uses reference that I have never heard about. I give up. Sorry. How much time? 1 hour and 10 minutes. But I like the ostrich part.